Welcome. Let's Make a Profit podcast was designed to be informational on the Profit First method, the highs and lows of being a business owner, and owning your financials. We are going to help you eradicate your entrepreneurial poverty. Did you know that 83% of all small businesses run check to check? If you are tired of not paying yourself your value, losing your why in the process, and working in your business rather than on your business, you have found your people. I am here to show you how not to continue being part of the 83% group. My name is Rebecca Howell, owner and operator of Custom Bookkeeping and Accounting Solutions. I'm an enrolled agent with the IRS and also a certified Profit First advisor. I want to take just a few minutes just a second really, to thank my sponsors. First, I want to thank the doctors Bo, Jamie, and Nolan at Harbor Life Chiropractic, Unleashing Your Health Potential, and Tim and Sadie at BD Local Studios. Thank you for all your hard work on these podcasts and helping us get through this process. So today I am joined by Roger Sargent. He is the owner of Affluence Business Solutions. Roger, please tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, first of all, let me congratulate you on having your own podcast. I think that's a great
Thank you.
Great thing. And we were just talking about how we've now known each other for about a year and how much we've grown with each other over the course of the last 12 months. So thank you for letting me be your guest.
Thank you.
So I love business. I've loved business ever since I was a small child. And so right now I currently have ownership with some great partners over in the Eastern Washington with a hotel, a health club, and a restaurant. Yes, we have been challenged with the COVID-19 pandemic, but we still are operating very nicely. And then about 15 years ago, I decided to stop being the day-to-day managing partner, and I became a business consultant. And so for the last 15 years, I've been helping small business owners either through one-on-one practice or through workshops and podcasts of my own that I help business owners move from day-to-day with their operations and business systems. And
would you like sharing the name of your podcast?
My podcast is Everyone Has a Story, and no matter what you do in life, whatever your work flow is, whatever that is, we all have stories that we can all teach people and learn from. So I love it because I hear so many different stories from so many different great people.
And I just have to add a little bit. Thank you for saying how far we've come in a year. I certainly have to give you a big thank you and say I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for a little push from Roger. So I do have to say thank you.
Absolutely. It's probably a little bit more than a little push. It's probably a bigger push than that. But here we are.
Here we are. So I found a little quote that I found interesting by Tim Ferriss. Money is multiplied in practical values depending on the number of W's you control in your life. What you do, where you do it, when you do it, and with whom you do it. So I thought that was a pretty good quote. So
it's perfect for business.
It really is, because my next statement is kind of fitting with that quote is, as we get closer to the end of the year, I just want to kind of say Profit First has been a game changer for my business this year. And I really want people to know that it's worth giving Profit First a try. So the second part of that was, if you don't know where you are, how do you know where you're going? So I think you have to really understand your financials and take ownership in your financials, because if you really don't have a pulse on your financials and you have these lofty goals or dreams that you really don't have a plan to get there. So it's just, maybe this is new to a lot of people, because I know a lot of people have not heard about Profit First, but I can say the system is definitely worth a try. And today I'm talking to Roger about his thoughts on Profit First and why you use it with your clients. So my first question is, what would you say is a typical business owner's understanding on their financial reports?
So before I answer that, let's go back to that first, that first set of stats that you gave. 83% small business owners.
Mm-hmm. That's a large number, isn't it?
That's 5 out of 6. Mm-hmm. And so to go one step further with that, 5 out of 6 businesses within the first 2 to 4 years will fail and close their doors. So that should tell you that most of small business owners, their understanding of financials are very low.
Yes.
Okay. And at the fact that they don't pay themselves, or if they do pay themselves, it's far less than market value is if they were working for someone. So it's important that that they understand this. But anyway, to answer your question, they very low. They're just not good at numbers. They did not go to school to be a business person. They went to school probably for their trade or whatever. And most schools don't teach you the business acumen you need to really go open up a brick and mortar place, or even if it's at home business. And so the financials, your number one scoreboard, are always going to be take the last seat. I do workshops, and my very first workshop I did here in Gig Harbor was on understanding your financial statements. And we had 44 different business owners in the audience. They're all different business owners. And I asked the question, what's your self-rating of understanding your financial statements, being the financial, your income statement, balance sheet, and your cash flow report?
Correct.
And literally, the average self-rated score was like 3.2.
Wow.
And there was one guy that said, I think I'm a 7 or 8. And then after about 10 minutes of the workshop, he raised his hand. He goes, I have to reevaluate myself. I think it's only a 3,
Yeah.
And so when my next question was, I asked, okay, so how many people here manage their day-to-day and make their day-to-day operations and manage their financial decisions based on their bank account balance? And everyone raised their hand.
I think that's the typical business owner.
Yeah. And so, at the same time, I'd like to ask, but I would not put anybody on the under the gun there. Are you paying yourself? Most business owners don't even pay themselves.
Or if they do, it's like you said, it's very much under the value.
Yes.
And I mean, even schools today don't even teach kids how to reconcile their checkbooks because most of them don't even use a checkbook. So if they're getting any business education, it's very minimal in schools these days. So it's that does not actually surprise me because most of my clients are kind of in that same boat. And I would say that, like you had said before, the checking your checkbook balance. Before Profit First, I can tell you I was the exact same. I got up every morning, checked my phone, logged into my bank, checked to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Was there money in the bank? And now since I've implemented Profit First, I can say that that is actually one of those things that I no longer have to worry about and I don't have to do anymore. So
it's a mindset.
It is a mindset, and it's just one of the things that I really do appreciate about Profit First is that it's not necessarily changing the way people do business or work within their business. We're just changing their tactics or their mindset of how they treat their money and how they own and understand their money. So it's making clarity, making better decisions.
That's the key.
So we've talked about this too, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to interview you today, was to talk to you as why you prescribe Profit First to your clients, and what is it that why did you pick it, and what do you think is the reason that it works?
Well, back when I guess it's the 401ks first were developed, all of a sudden I was asked by my employer if I wanted to put a little bit of money aside for my retirement. And I thought it was a great idea, but I didn't know if I could really live without that extra money. And so I said, sure, I'm going to put a couple bucks away, not knowing really, what the future might look like. So I put a couple bucks away. And then after a course of, 4, 5, 6 months, I realized I never missed that money in the first place.
No.
Okay. So I now have this untouchable bank account that I have money in, that if I ever need it, I have something to fall back on. So then all of a sudden I get a raise, and I'm thinking, okay, I think I'm going to put that raise into my 401k.
Just a little bit more.
Yeah, because I'm already living the way I want to live right now without that raise. So why not put that away, right?
Live the same way. And
Exactly. So now all of a sudden when you think about it, that 30, 40 years ago when I first started doing that, that was the profit first methodology. Okay. So I started putting that money away in an account that I can't touch, whatever like that. And guess what happens? It's growing every day, every month, every year. And so that's really the whole, premise of a profit first. But then when you look at the guys, and you talked about it earlier about how you would wake up in the morning and go right to your computer to see what your bank account balance was and what's gone through and what hasn't, and so really it's that ease of mind, because so many business owners, they lose, they got into business because they wanted to live the American dream, and there's nowhere on that American dream does it say I'm supposed to have sleepless nights.
Yeah. And we have a lot of those, don't we?
Oh, exactly. And most of those sleepless nights are about what? Money
or payroll, or
it eventually ends up about money, right? And so what I love about the Profit First, and Michael, if I could give him a big old hug, I would, because it's really, really great stuff that he talks about in such simple terms that even if you're not really the business owner with all that financial business acumen, he writes the book in a way that everybody can understand it.
Yeah.
That's number one. But number two is the reason why I prescribe to it is because so many of the clients that I have, they have those money worries. And so if I'm going to train them in those, really tiny disciplined baby steps, we're going to open up a couple of bank accounts, extra ones, that is going to make it it's going to be more difficult for them just to go in and take money out of it, right? And so, it's titled taxes, it's titled profit, it's titled owner's income.
You create a purpose for it now.
Exactly. And before you know it, they don't miss that money.
No.
Okay, so if they are still trained in the habit of looking at their bank accounts balance, if they look at the main operational account and they don't have the money in it to buy something or to invest in something, then they're all right. Okay?
Well, or they start thinking, do I really need this?
Exactly.
So you're changing, just having the money and saying, oh, I can go out and buy this because I have the money. Or they start, it forces them to think more strategically on, okay, I have payroll next week. I got to make sure I have that money. So I don't have this money to go out and buy whatever you're frivolously spending on. So I think it forces more intentional spending mindset than just frivolous because I have the money.
Yeah, and it all goes back to, and I love the part of the book about how it talks about the tube of toothpaste.
Yeah.
Right? When we come home from the store and we have that brand new tube of toothpaste, it seems like it's no problem putting a lot of toothpaste on that toothbrush, right?
We all do it.
We all do it. And then as soon as that tube of toothpaste starts to get very, very thin, what do? We start really measuring out.
We're stretching our resources at that point.
So once again, it's a profit first methodology. We all do it naturally. So if we don't have all the toothpaste that we had before, then we use it more sparingly. Yeah. It's the same thing with your business expenses, and it's just giving you a different way of thinking about it.
And if you stretch out that tube of toothpaste in smaller chunks, smaller plates, then it lasts longer.
It does.
You really are learning how to stretch your money, and it's hard for people to understand how that really happens, but it does just magically happen. I hate to say magically happen, but when you see the flow of how the small plates and the small bank accounts, and you start looking at that process, you do look at your finances differently. So, and to kind of piggyback that, one of the things that I had changed because of Profit First and really helping me clarify my mind to say that I don't need to check my bank balance is how many of us do auto payments? I think probably more so than what used to happen. And auto payments are great. I still do them for certain things, but I go back to, I let all the money go into my income account, and once a week, and I know the book talks about, the 10th and the 25th. At this point, because I'm such a small business and that's the clientele that I'm working with, we're really just doing whatever schedule works for us. So mine happens to be once a week. So I sit down and I make my allocations and I look at how much money do I have and I pay my bills. And for some reason, I have been able to pay all those bills and still have money left over. And I look at my tax account and it's growing and I'm feeling much more comfortable because if I do have to pay that, I have it and I don't worry as much.
And you're paying yourself a wage.
I actually am, and I've taken on staff members and I'm able to, pay them a reasonable wage and, pay for the business and have money stashed away for the taxes. I'm really feeling quite comfortable with if I have to pay those taxes and that comes time, then I at least know that I have that money so I don't have to worry about it.
And just think about if you helped 1% of the small business owners. So if 83 are failing and underperforming, and you help just 1%,
Yeah.
in the state of Washington, there's 300,000 small businesses. Okay, 1% is 3,000.
Yeah.
So think about if you just helped 1%, Rebecca, you've just now helped 3,000 small business owners and their employees know that they're going to be more viable and sustainable financially.
Yeah. And another thing with Profit First too, just to kind of, just give additional shout outs to it. It is a very good tool of understanding where are you in your business. If you are a new business, why not start something, that could sustain you for years to come? I'm a 16-year-old business and this is something new to me, but I wouldn't go back to doing it the old way. And then, some of my clients are looking at that, 2 or 5 year retirement plan. They're looking for their exit strategy. So we're starting to work with them and understanding. And when you get to that point in your business where you want to sell it, everybody thinks that they have a great business to sell until you start doing an evaluation on it and realizing, well, you haven't been paying yourself. You don't have profit. That business is not as pretty as it looked in your mind. So if you can prove that you're paying yourself a reasonable wage and that you are creating profit and you are able to take these taxes, your business just got really pretty.
Exactly.
Much prettier than it was before not doing something like this. So I found another nice quote from T.T. Munger. The habit of saving itself an education. It fosters every virtue, teaches self-denial, cultivates the sense of order, trains the forethought, and so broadens the mind. So this is, everything that we've just been talking about is teaching you, cultivating the sense of order, training your forethought, and broadening your mind to think of something different that you may not have thought about.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a great quote, by the way.
It is actually really a great quote, and it kind of fits into this whole process that we're talking about today. Okay, so my next question. How long does it typically take you and your clients to see this methodology gain traction?
Well, now we're getting back into the mindset and really taking on those small baby step, disciplined baby steps to move forward. And everybody's different. Everybody's different with their money. Some
Yes.
people have long sleepless nights, and a lot of them. And some people have them every 2 weeks when payroll is due. So everybody's in different frames of mind. But really, if you do it, 30 days, you're probably not going to start adding anything until your first 30 days.
Yeah.
And then, after about 3 or 4 months, you're going to start to find that, wow, I never did miss that money. And now all of a sudden the clients are starting to believe that I never missed that money. And then, 2 or 3 months later, I still haven't missed that money, right? I still feel like pretty good. And I'm actually paying myself, which I wasn't really doing before. Maybe I took a draw here, draw there, but now I'm actually paying myself. I'm saving money for taxes, and I'm showing a little bit of profit. And then all of a sudden, they get hit. Like a couple weeks ago, we had to pay our, if you filed an extension for your business and your personal, you had to pay your taxes, right?
That was a triple play this year, and not a good one.
Exactly. And so So all of a sudden now you realize, wait, I got this bill from my accountant saying I need to pay this much in taxes. Hey, look, I've got this money set aside in my tax account. So it's like I don't have to pay it because it's not part of operations. It's coming out of this other account that really
you hadn't really put a lot of thought to the last few months.
Exactly. And so now all of a sudden it's that ease of mind, that peace of mind, knowing that wasn't taken out of my operational account. It was taken out of this other account that, I just been feeding like a little baby every week, every month. And now all of a sudden it paid dividends on the ease of mind and the peace of mind.
Yeah. And it's not like writing a check to the taxes is any easy.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to do it. But the fact that you have the money to do it, because fact of the matter is we all have to pay our share. And, there are people that don't think they do. It's just kind of, head in the sand ostrich. So
Uncle Sam will win that battle every time.
every time. So you have to just accept that you're going to have to write that check. But when you have the money and you don't think about it and you haven't needed it, you don't really worry about it, it's there. That writing the check, the mindset of it is different. You're like, I actually don't mind paying this because I was able to do it and I didn't have to worry about it.
But then I go to my accountant immediately and say, what can I do next year to lessen that blow, right?
To lessen the blow, yes. Yeah. So we still, can do some tax planning, but it's nice to know that you have that account there and you haven't really put a lot of thought to it, and to know that when it comes time to pay those taxes, you have it. And I can really say that I probably had the light bulb aha, like, hey, this is really working, into the middle of my second quarter of doing it.
Yep.
So the first quarter, you don't really see much. The second quarter, you start to see the gains and the fruition of what you're doing. So it really does help.
And then once you have that one aha moment, all of a sudden you realize, well, this is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Because they're fun aha moments. They're not the bad aha moments.
Exactly. Well, and we talked about how do you hold your clients accountable, because this whole Profit First method is about accountability, working with the clients on a long-term basis and doing those quarterly reviews with them and saying, hey, what is your goals for the next quarter? What are you doing? It's holding them accountable. So I think that this is still, and I'm sure you do that with all of your clients, is still hold them accountable for all of this.
I do. Once we establish those bank accounts, sometimes, I have my clients show me weekly that they are being good. Mm-hmm. They're not robbing the piggy bank, right? Or the one or two or three of the piggy banks, but they're actually feeding those extra ones. And at the same time, still moving forward with the right mindset moving forward each day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to take just a few minutes to kind of talk about the systems that I have now, and how it helps me to understand, because when I sit down and do those once a week allocations, I know how much money has come in for the week. And if a week drops, that means that we either didn't collect, I didn't process the billing, which I have been known to do. So it gives me that understanding of what needs to come in every week and how much needs to come in every week to make sure that I'm allocating to those smaller plate accounts. And just giving me that understanding of, yes, I'm paying myself a profit, and yes, I'm paying myself a wage, and I'm paying the taxes, and I'm paying all of my operating expenses, and I feel good. And it's just knowing that amount of information from your business, and to be able to understand week by week, having that clarification, that's a game changer in people's business, because I'm sure you've had these conversations with business owners and you ask them, hey, how much money do you need for a week or a month? And they kind of look at you like deer in the headlights. Exactly. Because they can't answer that question. And by doing this process, if you came to me and said, how much do I have to have a week? How much am I bringing in each week? I can tell you right away because I'm going through this process, and it's just brought so much clarity. And like I said, I mean, it's a game changer in my business, and I would love to share that with, like you said, at least a 1%, but just as many people to have that clarity.
Exactly.
It's definitely worth it.
And it is a game changer, and really the whole idea behind it is don't think that it's going to happen tomorrow.
Mm-mm.
All right, because your business right now might not be able to afford more than, let's say, $20 in each account.
Yeah, 1%.
Yeah.
Starting off really small.
Exactly. So don't think that you're going to put your whole life savings in 1 month into this account. It's not going to happen that way. It's disciplined little baby steps that need to be done. And if it's $20 now, you're going to see that you don't miss the $20, and then all of a sudden you're going to realize that, wow, I can maybe next month I can do $40, and then before you know it, you've got now a substantial account growing in each one of those different buckets that you refer to. But don't think it's going to happen just tomorrow, the first month or the second month.
Right. And I know, Mike talks about one of the things in his book is, some people, the reason Profit First fails is because they go in with these high, lofty goals of, I'm going to do, 15% to taxes. I'm going to do 12% to profit, 30% to wages and, to owner's compensation. And then you realize you don't have any money. And then they go, well, I don't like this.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. And the process of this is really to start off very small, take baby steps, and grow each quarter, and just continue to grow until you do get to those, what they call target percentages that you are trying to get to. So it really is more about, just making smaller baby steps.
But as a bookkeeper, you've seen some businesses that are just bringing in a lot of money.
Yes.
And they're spending a lot of money.
Yes.
And when you start to really look to see what they're spending that money on, it's not necessary. And so even if you're doing really, really well, but at the end of the month you're saying, well, I had my record month for sales and revenues, but I still have nothing in my bank account to show for it. This is going to help you just as well. And so you might be able to put in some higher percentages closer to what you really want, because what it's going to do is it's going to stop you from doing that foolish spending. Yeah,
you can allocate and change your allocations in your percentages that you're working with, because you are doing so well, or you did cut your expenses. But at the same time, we also want to be very careful that, I had, I'll share a little story. I had a client, they were at 63% in operating expenses. In one quarter, they dropped it down to 58%. Those are phenomenal percentages. But I was like, pause. Let's see what you do next month. And if you're really, or next quarter, excuse me. If you're doing the same thing next quarter, then we can make those changes. But I didn't. I wanted to pause and pump the brakes a little bit and say, yes, I'm very proud of you guys for doing this, but we also need to pull back and just say, hey, let's not celebrate too much.
Well, no, but as small business owners, we all need that opportunity to have a pat on the back.
Pat on the back and just feel good about what we're doing.
But at the same time, like you said, let's not get too overzealous here.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's stay the course one more time. It's called discipline, and baby steps and discipline.
Yeah.
And those are the key words to this whole success of this whole thing. And so, but pat yourself on the back for having that success, because dropping down from 63 is high.
Yes.
58 is still high, but you know what? You just went down 5%. That's pretty darn good.
And that's 5% you can put somewhere else.
Exactly.
And that's the whole process of this.
That's the whole process.
And it's being able to understand that that's what you're accomplishing and that you do, because if you're not actually following these steps, you don't know when you have an up or a down month, or if you just don't know. And this really brings clarity to all of that understanding and again, like I said, owning your financials.
Exactly.
So, okay. So what do you believe the long-term benefits in using Profit First in the business? I mean, we've talked about a lot of it, but.
Well, number one, the long-term benefits is you have better sleep.
Yes.
Okay. And you spend less money on antacids for your heart, your heartburn. Okay.
Yep.
Those are really the long-term benefits. It's amazing what stress can do to the body under a lot of a long-term period of time. So that's number one. But number two is you're going to stay in the game longer. You're not going to be one of those 63% that are going to be gone within the first 2 to 4 years. You're going to be in the 5th year, the 6th year, the 7th year. Plus, like what you just experienced this last year, you got to hire a couple new employees.
Yeah.
Okay, you've never had employees before, so you see yourself growing. So now you're giving other people the opportunity to earn a nice wage and to help support their family, in a different way than what they did before. And so there's just a lot of long-term benefits, but really most of it's your own mental health and your physical health on what that stress can do to you. And like I said, then you're going to have a longer business. So if you like what you're doing, guess what? You're going to be doing it for a lot longer now because now you're financially viable and sustainable.
Well, and I think you get to appreciate your why you got started. Because if you create that longevity and you're still enjoying it and you're reaping the rewards from it, you appreciate it again. So you don't lose sight of why you started in the first place.
And that's probably more than anything else key. Granted, I talked about the stress level and the sleepless nights and the antacids like that, but really, if you really want and have the right why and you're joining the small business community, that's your Super Bowl is going to work every day and being successful. And so that's really probably more important than what I said is that, you're living your why and you're enjoying it again.
Yeah, that well said. Okay, so to wrap this up, I just wanted to say, here we are in December and we may be starting to think about our New Year's resolutions. Why not make this new year more about personal and business finances? All the things we talked about today. Just getting that overall wellness in your business and your personal life. Having a game plan or a process in place to give you more clarity, better decision making, and overall a better understanding of your money would make us all feel a little bit better.
And I'm glad you brought up the fact about personal, because the Profit First works on your personal finances just as much as
absolutely.
It works on your business finances.
Absolutely.
And the number one, there's 2 top New Year's resolutions every year: lose weight
and finances
and money, and live a better life financially. And Profit First would be my go-to tool if that was my goal for 2021 is to help my personal finances, not just my business, my personal finances.
Yep, absolutely. Well said. Thank you, Roger.
Oh, you're very welcome. This has been great.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.